All right, Steve, take it away.
Brent Primus, this is Steve Jewin from MMA Mania. How are you today, champ?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm excellent. And hey, I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time. You are the Bellator lightweight champion. That makes this a very interesting interview indeed. So, if I may, I'd like to pose some things that have been said by your opponent, by the media, and by fans to you and get your direct responses. How does that sound?
Yes, it's cool.
All right, let's go with the first one then. The statement is, Brent Primus beating Michael Chandler at Madison Square Garden was a fluke.
I don't know how to respond to that. I mean, I trained for that freaking low kick for 3 months and did hundreds a day with that low kick, and so they can call it a fluke, whatever they want, but I know what happened, and so did Michael Chandler.
Exactly, and medical TKOs are a perfectly acceptable reason to end a fight, so anybody that disagrees with that disagrees with the rules of the sport.
Yeah.
Well, here's the second one, and this one I've heard come directly from Michael Chandler himself. Brent Primus is a part-timer. He's not interested in being a full-time world champion.
I mean, I don't really know what to say to that because, I'm training every day, all day long, and he's the one that avoided our rematch for months and months and months, so he can say whatever the hell he wants, but he knows that he was the one avoiding me, and it is what it is, man.
What exactly happened at Bellator 197? Because we were expecting that fight to go down right there in St. Charles, Missouri.
That time, I got injured, yes. But before that, I was waiting months and months for him to sign the contract, which Bellator kept on saying, we're going to have the fight for you anytime. We was waiting on Chandler. And, man, I literally waited for months for that guy to sign the contract, so I'm not sure. He knows that he could have fought me way before then, and not only that, I had a contract to fight him when he fought Yamauchi, and Bellator called and told me that he wants to fight somebody else instead of you, and so I was like, what the hell? And then I hear him saying all that stuff, so the dude's like bipolar or something, dude. I don't know what the hell's wrong with that guy.
Well, I did find it very interesting when I spoke to him around that time that he actually said he wasn't interested in getting the title back. I'm like, wait a minute, you're the former champion. Why aren't you interested? I didn't understand.
Yeah, it really, I was so shocked. I had no idea what was going on, and then I kept on hearing him saying that I didn't want to fight him or that he's waiting on me. Like, literally, I have proof from people from Bellator and my manager saying that he doesn't want to fight me, he wants to fight somebody else, and then he goes off and saying that stuff, and it's just crazy because he does have a bigger platform than me. He has more fans and stuff like that, so what he says, people believe, and it was just crazy to me, man. Like, I don't know, the guy is freaking out of his mind.
Well, then I guess you have a chance to put him back into his right mind by winning again here at Bellator Salute the Troops.
Yes, exactly, man. I'm so excited, and I'm just really excited. I was pretty worried there for a little while because I thought that he was maybe going to go sign to another organization and stuff like that. And so I was definitely stressing out that we weren't going to get our rematch. But, we are getting our rematch now. So I'm excited, man.
Now, one other thing that I've seen, heard, read, said about you is that you're a full-time coach in jiu-jitsu and that takes time away from you making more fights in Bellator and having more dates in Bellator.
Hell no, it's not true. I quit coaching probably like 2 years ago when I started getting, when I was getting fights in Bellator, and I haven't coached in a long time. I might do private lessons every once in a while, but I have not coached a class in a long time, man. So he literally just says whatever he wants, and people believe it, and he's just so fucking so frustrating, man, because he's literally just making up stuff, and it's just irritating.
Well, I'm glad you get the chance to clear the air here because then we can get the facts straight and get the record out there. But speaking of records, you are undefeated, and that's something, no matter what your detractors say, they can't take that away from you. You're undefeated, and you're the champ.
Exactly.
You say it's irritating and frustrating, but at the same time, you've got to be pleased with the amount of success you've had. That's got to bring you some satisfaction.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, and literally, like, all the stuff that this guy says, like, I let it go in one ear and not the other, because we both know what happened, like, and even Scott Coker, in the hour after our fight, said, the doctor said it was from a kick, and I don't know how this guy thinks that he can just roll his ankle and cause nerve damage all the way up his leg and stuff like that. Like, on a soft canvas. It's just retarded. And I have had doctors messaging me saying exactly like the medical terms of the nerve, what happened, and you get it from getting a contact, a blunt force hitting that nerve. And I really don't even think he would have said that he rolled his ankle if it didn't appear how it did on cameras, and the announcers didn't say that. The announcers, they didn't see the first couple of kicks. I watched the fights, and they were talking about friggin' what they ate for dinner or something. I don't know what they were even talking about the fight when I kicked him a couple times the first time. And so they didn't even see that. And then they're like, oh, he rolled his ankle. And I think that the fans and the announcers, I think he went to the doctor, the hospital, he got out and he heard all that stuff, so he just went with it, And he's just a sore loser, big sore loser. And the dude is just irritating, man. It's funny.
Well, when you say he's a sore loser, here's the kicker, no pun intended. Do you think he's going to be sore in the exact same place, or you're going to go for that same target again?
I mean, I'm definitely not going to say my game plan, but I have a different game plan this time that me and my coaches have been working on a lot, and I can't wait to show that and put this game plan into action.
Now, early on in your Bellator career, we saw you come out of the gate right away with a couple of rear naked choke finishes in the first round, and since that time, your fights have been getting a little longer. You had a couple split decisions, and then, of course, we had what happened with Michael Chandler, but is there any desire on your part to go back to showing what a dominant finisher you can be?
I mean, obviously, I want to go out there and finish everybody in the first round. My first 5 professional fights were rear naked chokes in the first round, and that'd obviously be great, but the competition is getting better and better, and but I truly know that I can beat Michael Chandler and finish him, and that's what we're going to try to do.
If you are successful in defending the title in this rematch with Chandler, who do you think is the next viable opponent?
I obviously think Pitbull is. He's been on a roll, he's been crushing dudes, and he's a fighter, man. I respect him and his brother, and I definitely think that he's next in line for sure.
That's great, because Patricky has many times expressed to me his desire to be fighting for the world title, and he's also said in post-fight interviews that he thinks that you don't want any part of him, so he'll be happy to hear that you think he's next.
What the hell? That's funny, man. Me and Pitbull were actually signed to fight each other, a couple of years ago, or a little bit over, and I think we were supposed to fight in Italy, and then we had a contract signed, and I was training for that fight, and then all of a sudden, Bellator put a hold on that and put Derek Campos in there instead, and so that was definitely kind of a weird thing or whatever, but it's gonna happen, man. Me and Pitbull are gonna get in there and fight for sure.
Do you worry at all? I mean, I know with Chandler, the situation is much the same, but do you worry with either one of them about the kind of power that they have?
No, I don't worry about that at all. I'm a fighter, man. I'm in there to fight the best, and especially since the champion. And there's it's a mixed martial arts. There's different ways and different martial arts to beat people. And if I go fight Pitbull, I'm gonna have a different game plan for him, just like I do with any other fighter. And me and my coaches will put a good game plan for him, and he definitely has power. He has good hands, but he's very beatable, and he's been beat many times. And I'm not gonna say many times, but he's been beat, so I definitely know that I can beat that guy for sure.
Now, since we haven't had a chance to talk before, I'm curious about how you wanted to become a mixed martial artist in the first place. Was there a defining moment in your life that led you down this path?
Oh man, it's crazy. Like, I when I first saw MMA, this was like, I was young, and when I first saw it on TV, I went to my buddy's house, and they were showing, like, I think it was, like one of the first UFCs or whatever, and I was like, dang, that is crazy. These guys are nuts. I would never do that. And then here I am. But no, I saw it, and I thought it was crazy. But man, I had a troubled past. I'm not gonna say troubled past, but my dad's been in prison my whole life. My mom raised me and my brother. And and when I was younger, I've always had probably a little bit of just fire in me, just from my childhood and not having a dad or whatever. And I used to get in a lot of street fights. If anybody wanted to fight me, I would fight them. And I come from Eugene, Oregon, which is like a college town. And I used to go to parties and stuff like that, and I'd challenge people to fights for money. And I was knocking people out every weekend almost for a couple of years, and my hands were just big calcium clubs, you know. And one of my buddies was like, dude, if you're gonna be knocking people out all the time, you might as well get paid to do it. So he signed me up for a cage fight. And then about like 2 weeks out of the fight, I was like, I'm gonna walk into this jiu-jitsu gym and see what these guys are all about. And I thought I was gonna go in there and just mop the floor with everybody. And I went to this gym, and people were throwing their legs over my head and choking me, and I totally fell in love with it, and started training full time and started doing jiu-jitsu, and I caught on jiu-jitsu like crazy, and I won nationals and won all these tournaments, and I did really, really good. And then, man, it just happened.
So it sounds to me like there's two parts of the equation, and one is that you had that troubled past where fighting was kind of an outlet for you, and the other was that once you went into the jiu-jitsu gym and you got humbled by some of these coaches, it was like, okay, I thought I knew I was a fighter, but now I'm seeing fighting as something completely different.
Yeah, I realized that it's like technique, and there's technique behind it. It's not just about, you know, physical attributes and being strong and fast and being able to knock people out. There's a lot of technique behind it, you know, and I fell in love with that, and I'm such a competitor, and I knew that if I put my heart and soul into it and learn the technique, that I could be really, really good. And that happened, you know, and I thank God for jiu-jitsu, because I was definitely getting in so many fist fights, so many fights. I was, you know, back then I was, I started selling pot when I was like in I think as a freshman, you know, and I had my own house when I was a freshman, and my house was like the party place. I was raging. I was drinking fifths of whiskey like every night. Like, I was definitely a crazy little dude, you know. And jiu-jitsu, as soon as I started doing jiu-jitsu, it changed everything, man. I didn't want to drink. I wanted to go into the gym. I wanted to train. I wanted to be the best, and I knew I couldn't do that if I was doing that lifestyle. And man, jiu-jitsu definitely changed me for sure. And not only that, just like, it showed me respect. It showed me, I mean, my coaches made me bow to every single opponent that I went against. And, you know, every bout, that does something to you, you know, and I thank God for jiu-jitsu for sure.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad it changed your life for the better. And I find it's a great coincidence, too, that on this same card is one of the all-time greatest heavyweight submission artists in Frank Mir. So it's really good that you two are getting to share this card together.
Yeah, man, it's always awesome fighting on the same card as legends and badass dudes like Frank Mir and stuff like that. So it's going to be cool, man. I looked up to him for a long time. And his jiu-jitsu, he's got some awesome jiu-jitsu for a big dude. And yeah, it's going to be cool to fight on the same card as him for sure.
And it's also really cool that this event is for the troops, for all of the active service personnel and their families who are able to come to Honolulu and be at that Neil S. Blaisdell Arena. So what do you have to say for all the servicemen who are coming to see your rematch with Michael Chandler?
Man, it's awesome. My brother was a Marine. He did several tours to Afghanistan, Fallujah, and my brother's a badass. And all these all the guys we're fighting from, all these vets and all these military guys, they're the real heroes. They're the real badasses. You know, we're just, you know, we're nothing compared to them. And I could never imagine doing what they do. And it's going to be cool to go out there and fight in front of some real heroes.
Absolutely. So I want you to go out there and have a great fight with Michael Chandler. We're all looking forward to seeing this rematch. It's been over a year in the making, but it's finally going to happen here at Bellator 212. But Brent, before I let you go, please give any plugs to sponsors, teammates, anything you want. Yeah,
man, I first of all got to thank my wife and my family, and, you know, they support me so much. And it sucks leaving fight camps and leaving weeks at a time, leaving my little boy and my family. And it's an army that helps me get ready, man. I train at Performance Martial Arts in Eugene, awesome jiu-jitsu. I also train at Gracie Baja Portland, Fabiano Schirner, and all those guys. And then I'm actually in California right now training at Team Oyama, Coach Colin Oyama, and man, these guys help me get prepared like crazy. And I also have to thank my sponsors, Bomb Squad Growers. Man, they grow the best recreational and medical marijuana. And I also got to thank Roots Organic and Tong Jerky, the best jerky by far in the world. And yeah, man, I know I'm forgetting some sponsors out there, but yeah, man, I just it wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for everybody else that helps me, and it takes the army to help me get ready. So I really appreciate everybody that helps me for sure.
All right, well, it takes an Army to help you get ready, and then coincidentally, an Army will be there to see you fight here at Bellator 212. So, Brent, thank you for the time, and I hope we'll be speaking again soon.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Dan, as well.